What else is out?
Electric Malady, which is a documentary directed by Malady about electromagnetic hypersensitivity. Did you watch Better Call Saul?
I saw some of it, not as much as you did.
You remember that Saul, as he later becomes, his brother, suffers from electromagnetic hypersensitivity. He retreats into his house. He can't go out. Do you remember all this? He's covering himself constantly in protective garments. He can't have any electricity. And during the course of Better Call Saul, it becomes pretty clear that what's happening with his brother is actually probably a reaction to a psychological trauma, as opposed to what he believes it to be, which is that he's actually responding to electromagnetics. Well, in this documentary, we meet William, who was once an outgoing musician and student, now living in a confined bubble created by his father. We see his father and mother interviewed. His father talks about the pain of basically having to create a cage in which his son can live free from the pain of his condition. He is covered throughout the documentary. He wears a huge headpiece that's kind of like a big oval, and draped over it are fabrics, all of which are designed to protect his head and the rest of his body from being attacked by electromagnetic radiation. He looks like a jellyfish or a ghost. And he himself talks about, I looked at myself and look how ridiculous I look. And the tragedy of realizing that his life has come to this, that this is the situation that he has been brought to. And in one scene, which we're going to see now, I'll just give you a translation of what's happening. He talks about listening to Sandy Denny singing, I think it's Ballad of Easy Rider with Fairport Convention. And he says, I listened to this record and there is a line in it, all he wanted was to be free. And he makes the connection that somebody in a town not far from them was so plagued by electrosensitivity and the pain that it caused him that he lost his life as a result of it. So this is the scene from Electric Malady.
Tusentals favoritlåtar. Men det är några som jag lyssnar på ganska ofta. Men den låt med Fairport Convention som var den sjunger. Jag sjunger All he wanted was to be free. Jag tänker ofta på en kille som han bodde inne i en stad, inte så långt därifrån. Och han var ganska kraftigt elöverkänslig. Han orkade inte längre, han tog sitt liv. Samma vev så hörde den här låten första gången. Att han ville ju vara fri, han ville bara leva sitt liv. Ja, så jag brukar tänka på honom. Låten.
You're absolutely right. He does, as he's speaking Swedish there, but he does look like someone at a fancy dress ball who's gone as a ghost.
As a ghost or as and it's a really haunting thing. Now, the filmmaker apparently made some of the film with clockwork cameras in order to alleviate any sort of potential, electromagnetic suffering. The film covers the parents' distress at what happened to their boy, and their hopes that he can overcome it and get better and recover and start to live his life again, have to get out of the cage that his father had constructed. What's really important is this. The documentary doesn't pass judgment on the condition. It just registers what is evident, that this is a young man suffering a terrible, debilitating condition. He is one of many, and there are members of the medical establishment who are starting to take the condition seriously. Now, I'm not medical, I'm not, but obviously if you think about ME or you think about post-viral fatigue or you think about long COVID, you think about, I have friends who are sufferers, who initially were dismissed as, it's all in the mind, it's all, and then later on, people, no, it's not. What's important is that what this documentary does is it literally just shows you this is really happening to this young man. And this is the effect that it is having on him and his family. And this is how he's dealing with it. And this is his hope is to overcome it. And I found it very moving. I mean, it's very sad. It's very...
And when he's dressed the way he is, the way you've described it, does it bring him relief? And then if he didn't have it on, it would cause him pain?
Apparently so, yes. Apparently he has experimented with many fabrics, and there are some that, you know, that he has discovered work. And certainly the thing that's on his head, I mean, it's the best way of describing it is it's like a large jellyfish. It is a sort of protective shield. And he has discovered, as so many people with, you know, different conditions, there are certain things that work and certain things that do. And yes, it does bring him relief from it. But obviously what it also does is entraps him. And he talks very eloquently about how much he feels the tragedy of that situation. I would encourage anybody to watch this, no matter, you know, what you know or don't know about electrosensitivity. I mean, I know nothing at all. I am not medical. I think the first I had ever heard of the condition was in Better Call Saul, in which it is very definitely presented as, you know, probably psychological. That's all I knew. And what this doc does is it is just impossible not to conclude that this is happening. This young man is suffering a really, really debilitating condition. He's not alone. It ends up with some statistics about the large number of other people who are in a, you know, and I thought it was very, very affecting and very strange.
So by the end of it, with our medical knowledge, lack of knowledge accepted, did you, in accepting that the boy is suffering very, very much?
Yes.
Do you come away thinking, as you've suggested, this may be a new condition, but also that maybe it's psychological or a combination of those, or it just doesn't try and tell you what the answer is?
Okay, my mother was a GP. My father worked in hospitals all his life. I have learned that the world does not need film critics passing medical judgment on anything. You know,
so
that's for scientists.
It's basically saying this is what we've seen. Over to you.
Yes, and it does have in it doctors who are investigating this and saying, we think that this is a, you know, an inverted commas real thing. But the point is, of course, something is real. It's happening, and it's not happening because somebody's willing it into existence. But I just want to say this again. The world does not need unqualified people passing medical judgment on things. If I learned one thing from my parents, it's that.
And if anyone's learned anything from watching social media, they will also have come to the same conclusion
Precisely so.
that you've had. So, Swedish language film, Electric Malady, which we can find
in cinemas, and also, you know, I'm sure a lot of its life will also be, you know, later on online.
And Fairport Convention, not mentioned on this show for a long time.
For a long time. So
who would have thought it would have appeared via that particular movie? Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.